Hello, physics friends, and welcome to 15.2, which is entitled Sources of Sound. We're going to be talking today about where sound comes from. I mean, the fact that you can hear me speaking, that's different than how does this happen? You know, how does this come out of my mouth? Like when I listen to my favorite band, what's the difference between all of their instruments? How do the speakers on my computer work? How do my speakers on my headphones work? So we're going to explore those today and watch a pile of videos. There's going to be a ton of videos that show how stringed instruments work, all sorts of fascinating things about strings and you name it. So sources of sound. First of all, there's a few different types of things that give off sound, and every single one of them, they all have to vibrate. The one thing that they all have in common is that something is vibrating. And in percussion, when you hit that cymbal or you hit the drum, it's the surface that's vibrating. When you play a brass like a trombone, a trumpet, your lips are what are vibrating. When you play a woodwind like a clarinet, a saxophone, an oboe, it is a reed. There's a wooden reed that vibrates. Strings, obviously, you pluck the string is what's vibrating. When you play the flute or the bagpipes, there's a column of air. Now, we're going to reserve this one right here, all to itself. We'll do another whole lesson just on air columns because they're kind of confusing. And the one I didn't put in is your voice. Like, your voice comes from what are called your vocal cords. What are your vocal cords? How do they work? You've probably heard vocal cords before. So that's actually kind of where I wanted to start, is your voice. I found an interesting video about your voice.
How is your voice produced? The voice is made by the vibration of your vocal cords, the two white ligaments you can see on the picture here. Located in the larynx, the cords, sometimes also called vocal folds, are like two elastic bands that are stretchy and adjust their length as you change pitch. Imagine for a moment a guitar. The top strings are thin, the low strings are thick. You have one voice, and the magic thing is that you can stretch your vocal cords gently throughout the whole of your range.
So your vocal cords are actually flexible. They can vibrate faster or slower.
When you phonate by singing or speaking, your vocal cords open and close. Take a look at the picture here. When at rest, the vocal folds open to allow breath to pass in and out. To produce voice, the brain precisely coordinates a series of muscular events. First, your vocal folds
No, this is looking
seal
right
together
down
in a
someone's
firm
throat.
but relaxed way. Once the vocal folds are closed, air from the lungs passes through them, causing vibration. They open and close, and this causes them to make a sound. Basically, this blew my mind when I realized this, but your and my voice is nothing but little puffs of air.
Now, I learned that. That's interesting. I just learned that from this video, too, that your vocal cords close and open, letting out air puffs at, when you sing at a 440 hertz, which is an A, that thing is opening and closing 440 times each second to let that many breaths through, which kind of like my speaker when it pop, 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 and you get that A, whatever A sounds like. I'm not a very good singer. But I want to show you a bunch of other videos that I've amassed and dealing with your voice. So within the sound, I'm clicking on a bunch of these links here, and you're welcome to check these out later because I'm only going to see parts of them and not even all the videos that are on. And I've amassed quite a collection of really interesting videos. This first one, it's kind of gruesome. They put a camera down a woman's throat to show her vocal cords as she's singing. And not only that, they strobe it so you can actually see the vocal cords opening and closing like we used the strobe light in the last chapter to slow down very quick motion. So here. Oh, nasty. Okay, now they're going to turn the strobe light on. So here's your vocal cords right here. And you can see them opening and closing because the strobe light's strobing and it's catching them at different spots. Taking breath in, taking breath out. It's crazy. It looks like, if you ever see the Predator, it looks like the Predator. These guys are an incredible barbershop quartet. Amazing. This is a computer trying to simulate how humans make their voice. Scary. It's scarier than anything else. This is a person blowing a raspberry. Like, have you ever gone, what does it look like in slow motion? And then this guy beatboxing. Now this is kind of interesting because he's doing two things at once. The drum beat with his breath and the melody with his humming. You'll see a theme. Anytime people do anything cool, for some reason they always choose that song, the Super Mario Brothers theme. The next place I want to go, let's go to strings. The stringed instrument, it's the string that vibrates. This is a really interesting graph that I found that shows the bass line of a really popular song, Ain't No Mountain High Enough. I can't listen to this song without listening to the bass line anymore. Pianos are considered stringed instruments because inside the case is a bunch of strings that when you push the keys, a hammer strikes them. This guy's pretty incredible. This person's pretty incredible. This is an iPhone that's put inside of... If you have a guitar at home and an iPhone, put it inside there, but you have to have a really bright background for this to work. And it works because you have the frame rate. Remember, there's 60 frames per second. So these strings are vibrating at a different frequency than 60. So you get this weird interference patterns. And you can see the wavelength gets smaller and smaller the higher and higher the note that he picks. Very cool. Wow. This guy just rips off literally 100 songs. Like, he will play the main riff of 100 songs. This is Jake Shimabukuro. He is an incredible ukulele player from Hawaii. He plays this instrument that's like this big, like he's a mountain. Just insane. Here's a guy playing his violin to the tune of, you guessed it, I don't know what it is. Does all the sound, like the, what do you call it, sound effects and everything. Here's a mechanical bass. This guy, he's the fastest guitarist in the entire world. He plays the Flight of the Bumblebee at different, like, and he's got a clock going in the back there just to show you that he isn't speeding it up. Amazing. A couple cellos playing Thunderstruck. This guy, he plays the piano, but he puts random stuff in the piano to make it sound differently. Like, he's got a bunch of ping pong balls, Tic Tac containers, just... Looking at musical instruments, I mean, they were designed to be played a certain way, but is there a way you can make them play differently. I mean, looking at something with a fresh set of eyes. And there's a piano that actually talks. It's crazy. Computer controlled.
Hörbar zu machen, ohne auf eine simple Vertonung zurückzugreifen, das war das ehrgeizige Ziel.
Ich glaube, es ist teilweise verständlich, teilweise unverständlich. Und es
Yeah, you can watch more of it. We got other videos to see today. Woodwind, where the reed vibrates. Here you got a accordion. It's got internal reeds. Harmonicas have reeds inside them. This is a sub contra bass saxophone. Not a bari, not a bass, not a contrabass, but a sub contrabass. I mean, this is a monster. I don't know. There's probably like only 2 or 3 of them in the world. And then next to it here, he's got a sopranino saxophone. Not an alto, not a soprano, but a sopranino, a smaller than soprano. So he's gonna rip this off here. Big, long, low wavelengths. Then he picks up this other guy. Pretty amazing. And this thing here, this is a Chinese instrument called the sheng. It's over 3,000 years old, and guess what song she's gonna play? You guessed it. But she can make the sound effects too. It's incredible. You can play. Very cool. Getting the coins. Let's see what other kinds of instruments we got. Percussion. And we talked about in percussion how it's the surface that vibrates. This is a video of this drummer. They play it back in slow-mo so he can actually see what happens when he hits a drum face.
I don't believe what
You can see that he's hitting. That's a snare drum. You can actually see the snare going in and out super high. Another good one is the cymbal. When he hits a cymbal,
it's unbelievable.
watch this.
Watch the deflection you put in. Carry that
Ooh,
wave all
look
around
at the
ring,
wave.
and now it
Goes
just
all
gets
the way
to the back,
around
and then it
through each
starts
other
to
and back.
rise.
It keeps going back around and around.
And it comes back to the front.
I've been beating the heck out of them.
This guy here, high school student, he made this instrument called a xylophone, but it's more. This is more of a piped instrument, so like how flutes and stuff work. This isn't. It's a percussion in the percussion sense, but really it makes its noise kind of like. Bonus points if you can name that tune. Just a bunch of tubes, and he varies the length of the tube. The longer the tube, the lower the note. The shorter the tube, the higher the note. And you'll see that in almost all of these instruments. There's one way to vary the note. You vary the length of it. When you're trombone, you make it longer and shorter. Trumpets, when you push the keys down, you're varying the length. Saxophone, flutes, clarinets, when you push keys down, you're making it longer. Slide whistles. This is an interesting one. If you've got a hand drum at home, sprinkle a little salt on it, and you can sing at it and see the nodes. See the salt settling in the nodes there? Tons of fun. This guy, he's French. French people are kind of weird with this stuff too.
Back out to 53rd Street, Michelle.
Give a low sound.
He uses wine bottles.
Hearing it is fun.
Thicker
Michelle,
wine bottles give
anytime
you a
you're ready,
high
take it
pitch.
away, sir.
Thinner
Okay,
wine
Michelle,
bottles, they don't
Louisier,
vibrate as
master
fast.
than usual.
I'm
They
gonna
get lower
concentrate
pitches.
for
You
a
can fill them up
second
with
and go
water,
down.
not with water. Pretty crazy. This guy does something similar too. The bottles are vibrating. It's a great song. Love this. This was like a favorite cartoon of mine when I was a kid. See how he's got it set up? Kind of like a keyboard too. Maybe you've been at a wedding where you've run your finger around a wine glass. where the wine glasses are vibrating. This thing right here, I don't know what this thing's called. It's like a thumb, a lotus or whatever. I thought it was kind of interesting. A thumb harp. And here's a bunch of quadricopters working in unison. I'll fast forward ahead a little bit here so you can see it. I'm working as a swarm to play in a band. Playing the James Bond theme. What do we got? Percussion. Let's do some brass. Let's look down the end of a trombone here. This is what your lips look like. From inside the trombone, looking towards your lips. We talked about in a brass instrument, it's your lips that are vibrating. I hope I'm this cool when I get older. I think these white dots on there are for motion tracking, so you can actually see what's going on. I don't know what else they'd be for. This guy did another video. GoPro put him on their website. It was pretty cool. And you might think, those of you that don't play the trombone, you might think it should get higher when he comes towards you because he's making it shorter. You can play different harmonics too. Just like when I shook my string, I could get 2 nodes or 3 nodes going on. You can manipulate where the nodes are inside of an instrument like that. Piped instruments, like I said, we're going to spend an entire unit or just lesson talking about how do these things work. How do you make a carrot? If you got a carrot at home, you can make it into a little recorder you can play on. This is a tree that's, I think in Wyoming, it's an art installation that when the wind blows, makes these eerie sounds depending upon the wind direction. I would not like this next to my house. Flute. A flautist. That's what you call someone who plays the flute. Again, I don't know what it is about when people play something cool, they go to this song. Does a little beatboxing while he plays. I'm thinking solo and ensemble right here. Someone who plays the flute. I would come and watch that. That would be great. I put this inside a resonant tube. Again, he's playing that same song. He's manipulating the cavity of his hands to change the length of the tube to get different notes. I can't snap with both hands. Crazy. The last thing I wanted to talk about today, before we leave, is how do speakers work? You know, everything we listen to on is what you're listening to me on right now is a speaker. How is a speaker making noise? And a speaker's making noise basically on the same principle when we talked a while ago with liquid nitrogen. Whenever you move electricity in a circle, it creates a magnetic field. Now, here's electricity moving in a circle. The electricity goes down this, what's called the voice coil, goes in a circle and creates a magnetic field. Now, if the electricity is spinning one way, it makes a magnetic field that either attracts this permanent magnet. If the electricity starts going the other way, it makes the opposite magnetic field, which will repel. So you get a combination of attracting and repelling that permanent magnet down there. Through what's called induction, you're inducing a magnetic field through current, and then you get the vibration. So speakers make vibrations just like my vocal cords, just like musical instruments. No sound is ever made without something vibrating. Something has to physically move to do that. Well, thanks for watching. Again, I want to encourage you that if some of these videos that we saw, you didn't get enough chance to watch some of them, you want to go back and look at some of them, these are on the website. Feel free to just kind of cruise around. It's taken me 10 years to amass all. Every time I see a cool video, I just throw it in this sound unit. It's my biggest unit by far. Thanks a lot.